Hey guys, I'm Olando and welcome to Conversations with Neoseven. On this show, I will be chatting with professionals from different industries and getting their advice and expertise on a range of different topics, from health and well-being, environmental sustainability, diversity in media, food and lifestyle, and much more. Hey everyone, welcome to Conversations with Neoseven. Today I'm talking to a true legend. He is a proud and strong voice of diversity in media in the UK and internationally. He's also the Director of Diversity and Inclusion at Advertising, a keynote speaker, and winner of multiple entrepreneurial awards. Chris, welcome.
Hi, how you doing?
Well, I'm just thinking back to the first time that we met. It may have been 2017 or somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I think you were still at the Gay Times then, weren't you?
The very first time, yeah, I was. So I was working in I was commercial director there. And then obviously skip forwards a little bit to Brand Advance, and then we met again when I formed Brand Advance, obviously.
So why did you decide to make that move to starting up Brand Advance?
Why did I form Brand Advance? Because marketing as it stands, outside of a good few eggs like yourself, marketing is a pretty shitty place. They're not, we have this great power, this great responsibility, which is to sell dreams to people, whether it's your Samsung phone and saying having that phone, you are the coolest person on earth.
Yeah.
Whether, whatever the product is, we sell a dream with that product. Marketing's been used to build governments and topple governments,
Yeah.
But what it's not being used to do is to speak to everyone in the very society where the marketeer is sat, i.e., it's up until recently, there was only a certain privileged section of society that all marketing was aimed at.
Yeah.
If you think 4 months ago, black bus driver, he was just called a low-skilled worker. Or Indian lady behind the counter in Tesco's, she was called a low-paid worker.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then now we call them all key workers. But it took a global pandemic to do that. They weren't called key workers before. They weren't even noticed before. Marketeers, they weren't ABC1 with with an income between this and this, so nobody cared. So I'm waffling a little bit, but that's why we formed Brand Advance, was to help brands reach the other, whether it's Black, Asian, multi-ethnic, whether it's LGBT, whether it's disability, whether it's gender empowerment, whether it's 50 plus. Because an interesting fact, over 46% of all spend in the UK is made by someone 50 or above, but only 4% of advertising is spent on them. So, half of all spend is made by our mums and dads and grands and granddads, but
marketing does not reach them at all. Yeah,
no, we don't even consider them to be a viable consumer. Nuts, because they're the only ones that have got money, and we're all chasing Gen Z that are skint and haven't even got a job yet.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Because they are the influencers. They're the ones in the bikinis or in the buff bods that are driving traffic to websites. But for whatever reason, sometimes they convert, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
It's a weird world we live in. Put it that way.
No, definitely.
Yeah. So now Brand Advance, obviously you're just talking about, the diversity in the sectors in which you guys serve and so on. But how do you do this without appearing to be discriminating against everything else that's not falling under the diversity banner?
What, straight white guys?
Yeah.
Well, because they've had the run of the world for long enough. I'm joking. So if all marketing has been targeted towards said straight white guys, then why would it be deemed to be discriminatory to shift the balance back towards other members of society? I am just as an important consumer.
Yeah,
there's not much that I'm blowing smoke up my own backside, but there's not much I can't afford to buy. So why would why would creative not have people that look like me? Why would it not be put in places that I might read, like The Voice, or I don't know, Attitude, or contextual environments? We don't target someone for race, religion, or sexual orientation. We just make sure all advertising speaks to them. Society, if you were to look out the window right now, you will see as many people that look like me and you as you will any other, So if that's society, if that's who's on the outside, why shouldn't all advertising include them? It's not, we're not being discriminatory. We're not saying one is more important than the other, just like when some of the arguments against Black Lives Matter is that all lives matter. They do. All lives do matter when Black Lives Matter. And it's the same for marketing, or marketing should be reaching everybody. We're not saying don't reach these other people. We're just saying you've done that for the last 50 years. How about you remember that we are also consumers and we're here? So,
So is there any one thing specifically that you can pinpoint to say, this is something that we're doing that is really different to what all the other agencies are doing, that is really practicing inclusion for the minority races?
Let me explain just what Brand Advance is. So we've went around the world and got all the publications and platforms that speak to these demographics and stuck them on one ad server. So it's our technology that serves you an ad when you're on one of these publications, whether it's a video or display, etc. And then we've got other networks as well. So we've got TV stations that we've launched here in the UK and in Europe, and we've got out-of-home networks as well that we've launched. So that's the sort of the media element. What we also do is work with a brand. So the first stage really is we have a consultancy. So there's 3 companies in the group, Brand Advance being the network, so the media network. DECA, Diversity, Equality and Cultural Action, is our media consultancy. And what they'll do is they'll work with brands like Adidas, like Nationwide, and we'll sort of say, okay, let's look at your baseline. So where are you now? How much money do you spend? Well, firstly, actually, how many consumers are there in the UK's Black community? How many, how many possible consumers of Adidas or possible mortgage buyers for Nationwide are there in the UK right now within that demographic? Black, LGBT, disability, blah, blah, blah. And then we'll give them an overview of that. And then we'll look at how much they spend already in Black media. And believe me when I say 99% of the time, it's zero. So they don't spend anything in Black media because the mentality is, oh, I'll catch them on ITV or I'll catch them, on Facebook. But we all know that, second and third generation families will have, and first generation, will have people in their family that are still watching media related to the country they came from, not ITV. You go into an Asian house, that most likely anyone over a certain age is watching ZTV or something like that, or Sony India. You go into a Black house, they're watching Bet or AKA or, some other kind of TV channel that's culturally related to how they identify. So thinking you're going to capture them on the 2-minute advert in X Factor is just silly. You're not. And that's the bit we help with, is sort of, okay, there's this size of consumer there. Let us help you reach that consumer and reach them authentically as well. I mean, the whole world keeps branding around that word authentic. And I don't think any of us know exactly what it means anymore. But I think for us, for our group of companies and for all the staff sat behind me, authentic just means, making sure that you're representing. Make sure you consult the people that you're trying to reach. Make sure there is somebody that represents that demographic somewhere in your marketing. It doesn't need to be in your company or in your agency, but at least you're working with an agency that has people that represent. And then the last layer of authenticity that we help them with is just don't just do it once, keep doing it. You know, my blackness, just like yours, has never rubbed off. I've had it for 38 years. So don't advertise me just during Black History Month. Like literally 365 days a year, I'm going to look like this. And 365 days a year, I'm going to think like this, and I'm going to be culturally aware of the color of my skin. So if you want to advertise to me, you do it. You don't need to advertise to me 365 days a year, because I'll get pretty bored if you brand if you do. But you know what I mean? At least consider it all year, not just for one slither of the year and say, oh, I've done that.
But right now you guys are, you is in particular advocate for that, and again, your journey from, again, when we met to now is not that many years between. And I think I've seen some significant changes myself in media from a diversity perspective. Are there any things in particular you can pick out that you say, you know what, I'm proud to say that I contributed to that? Yeah,
blacklist and whitelist.
Yeah.
People, the whole industry stopped using it.
Amazing.
And that I never understood it anyway. So I was very vocal in how dare you? Why is whitelist good and blacklist is bad? Who even thinks that's okay? But we got it stamped out. We're there's me, and I can't take all credit. There's Jerry Dakin from GSK, and there's a few others that have just continuously badgered it. And then the WFA, which I'm on the board of, the Federation of Advertisers, they took up the mantle as well and agreed. It's just a crappy word. There's so many more words you can use. Inclusion and exclusion list. You know, even something, if it needs to be simple, the on and off list. There was no need to make it about race. And, no matter what.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, and I don't know if you've read, but there's different bits in history, way back history, where there were lists. There was slave lists and slave owner lists. Blacklist was the slave list. White list was the slave owners list. To carry even any connotation of that through. So that's one thing I'm proud of. What else? Because I am pretty gobby, as you know. So
that's why I like chatting with you, because it's never dull.
Just the change within media and advertising now. I mean, luckily from that change, I've managed to build a fast-growing company here and on the other side of the pond in New York. But no one cared 6 months ago. Not really. Maybe the last year there's been a stir of a bit of change, but the pandemic, it's like being this perfect storm of horribleness. Don't get me wrong, but it is a perfect storm of, COVID made us all look inward. We realized, actually, I can do without everything. All those marketeers realized we don't have to go to Soho House every week to get through life. What I mean? Just everything got stripped away, and we were just left with our partners, with our family that we lived with, or with our housemates, and it was just left to the rawness of life. You can't do anything. You can't mask. You can't hide behind shopping. You can't get out and get drunk. So that you become someone else. If you were just left with your raw self,
has that made you more focused in any way? That being in lockdown. Being because I think your family is based abroad. Is it? You got a son that lives.
Son and daughter in Germany.
In Germany. So you probably see him more regularly. Without the pandemic, how did the pandemic actually affect you, work-wise and with your family?
So work-wise, we adapted pretty fast. We locked down a week before the government shut everybody else down. So basically, we're in a big open plan office, and one of our team got what we just knew then as a really bad cold, and then about 2 days later everybody got it, so we shut the office so that to stop everybody getting it. And then about 4 or 5 days later, they're announcing that no office is going to open again. So the lockdown bit was okay. It gave me time to focus. We just adjusted. We run all the government's campaigns. So the second that lockdown started, our workload just got even more. Because we run like the Stay Safe campaign. We run Track and Trace. We run summer campaign. Stay Safe in summer campaign, etc., etc. So, and we still do. So we run all of them campaigns. So we just got really busy when all this was happening because there was a lot of messaging that the government needed to get out. I think personally, it wasn't really COVID that got me. It was Black Lives Matter during COVID.
Yeah,
I think
it's a double whammy, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to go on a march, one of the marches, and during lockdown, we went out. We kept our distance and wore our beautiful looking masks, but marched around London, and really felt empowered to have a voice about something that I have lived with. I'm sure you have as well. These microaggressions, like the amount of times I get in a lift. And mostly ladies, to be honest, but they'll move their bag to the other side of their body.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I'm going to steal it. Like they have anything that I ever want to take off them. And it's just, you notice it. And you sort of, sometimes sometimes you get a bit pissed off inside. You're just like, piss off. Your bag looks rubbish anyway. Or other times you just make these silly things in your head that justify to you why she just did that.
Yeah.
Things like coming into our office as well, the amount of times I come into the office and the security guards have been on the gate and they'll go, so where are you going? I'm like, dude, I'm the CEO, and you didn't just ask my two white employees in front of me where they were going. You literally just came to me. I know I'm wearing a hoodie and I'm a black guy, but why? Do you know what I mean? And I never did question it, really. Sometimes I get annoyed, as we all do. And you get worn down. And things like when I'm going through, I'm telling you, I've got 2 kids. So my daughter is white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and my son is mixed race. Every time we come back to the UK, the border guards always pull my daughter to one side and ask her why she's traveling with us. Every time.
Right.
They've done it since she was about 7 or 8. And they do it every time. They take her to one side and they just say, what are these 2 guys in relation to you? Do you know what I mean? What they're basically asking is, why is this white?
I've experienced something quite similar. Not at the border, but my son is fair-skinned, light eyes. My daughter's mixed race. My wife is white. And sometimes we're walking together and they look at you like something is wrong. You get that they cross the street type thing. From the older couples, not so much the younger people, but the older people. It seems to be a bit more visible.
So all of that meant that I just wanted to get on this march. So I went on this march anyway. And then we went to the American Embassy and we went round and it ended at Hyde Park. And halfway round, I must have been recording it. And I live streamed it to my Facebook, just a little bit, about 20 minutes of it. And then didn't even think about it. When I got back to Hyde Park and I started looking at my phone and stuff, there was loads of comments of support. And then someone had put on my Facebook, like, why are you working with them niggers?
No way.
And and so, like, it was the first time, and it's still, it's something I'm battling professionally now to change, but for the first time, it reminded me that, as you said at the beginning, I've been really privileged to win lots of awards over the last year or so. Got in the top 100 for multi-ethnic execs in the UK. We got in the top 100 for startups, won entrepreneur awards and stuff like that. But it reminded me that, my son is very proud of his dad. I love how proud he is of me. He's always telling people he's 15.
As he should.
It's nice. I wasn't of mine, so it was just it's lovely to just for him to be like, my dad's the CEO, runs his own company, and I'm going to go and work with him. You know, he says it all the time. Still now says
Brilliant.
it at 15. But what recently has reminded me, what the divisions of the world, what the person writing that on my Facebook has reminded me, is like all the money in the world that I could be earning right now, whatever size my company, you know, there's 67 people sat behind me. When that gets to 167, I will, you know, we as a collective will have built that up. But no matter how big the company gets, no matter how much money or privilege or what area of London I live in or what area of New York I live in, no matter how many accolades and pats on the back and podcasts and standing on stage and people saying, well done, no matter how much of that, I'm going to have to tell my son at some point pretty soon that they're still going to write nigger on your Facebook. They're still going to move their bag. They're still going to ask where you're going. They're still not going to quite treat you as if you are equal. You're still going to
be you people.
Yeah,
you know,
you're still gonna have to run twice as fast, be twice as strong, be twice as quick, and do everything with twice as much vigor so that they can give you half as much credit. So that there's been a lot of good to come out of recently.
Yeah,
but that and my realization of that, because I've just went through life I knew I was don't we know these microaggressions. We know we're black, you know, or we're brown, or we know we're not white. But I know that as a business leader, and I see it when I go to certain events and stuff. But I don't know, COVID, and then Black Lives Matter, and then the subsequent, you know, LGBT free zones in Poland and other stuff in Belarus, and just the world going to cack. Just reminded me that, you know, one day I am going to have to tell my son all this, and because it isn't going to change fast enough. We're changing things, you know, but what's up, you know, changing a word like blacklist and whitelist, yes, in the end it will change mentality around black people and white people thinking black is bad and white is good. But at the moment, what is it? It's an insignificant change. They shouldn't have been using it in the first place. Nobody should have, you know, and equality and inclusion and diversity, they aren't things that we should have panels for or podcasts for or stand on stage or accolades or top. You know, I've got a piece of crystal over there that calls me the most diverse CEO in the UK. What the hell does that even mean?
Like, it changes nothing in the grand scheme of things. It is inching forward, but will you be able to see, you know, in your lifetime, you know, the effects of this change the way we wanted to see it?
Will we have to tell our kids? Do we have to tell our kids about that they're going to face this and how to react? Or can we not tell them anymore? Because at the moment we have to tell our kids. I'm going to need to tell my 15-year-old when he gets to about 16 and he's getting himself out into the real world. I'm literally going to have to say, look, it's not going to. Don't think because your dad's doing well, or don't think because you come in and you could inherit this one day that you're going to be treated any different, because you're not. You're still a black boy. No matter what, do you know what I mean? When will we not need to do that? So anyway, I'm going down a rabbit hole, and we want to keep it positive, but at least, you know, the conversation.
You're doing well. You're doing well. Not in the sense of, you know, achievements only, but what you're doing, not just for you, but for all people of color, or people who are being discriminated against. Within media and advertising is commendable, you know, and my hat goes off to you for that. Because
also, even though it's beautiful to be the first global diversity media network, as in, you know, at the size that we are, I think we're definitely the first global one. And that's nice. But, you know, I could grab anybody behind me that speaks daily, passionately to clients about this. It's not so great to have to justify your existence every time you speak to a client. Because basically, when a client goes, oh, we're not sure if we want to do multicultural marketing, or multi-ethnic is not really on our plans at the moment, what they're actually doing is tearing an absolute strip out of your side by saying, we don't need to advertise to you just yet.
Yeah.
You are not an important consumer to my brand. You know, they don't see it like that. They think that they're just, oh, we don't do much multicultural advertising. Like, what the hell does that mean? Have you looked in the world? Half of it is female, 2/3 of it is black or of non-white race. You know, like, what does we don't do? Are you a brand? Are you trying to be a bigger brand? Are you trying to make money? Therefore, you should be trying to sell yourself to as many people in society as possible. It just makes no sense. Like, you know, even the maths of it doesn't make sense. Oh, we want to sell to them, but we don't want to sell to them, but and we don't have the experience to sell to them. It's just like,
so we want money, but not everybody's money.
You know, but then they're going to complain when, oh, you know, our business isn't doing so well. No, it's not COVID. It's the fact that you were only selling to a small section of society, the section that stayed at home during COVID. What are you trying to say? Who are you trying to hit? Like, you know, just from the outside, marketing must look silly in times. You know,
a lot of people say marketing is not. There's no science to it. It's just, oh, you just put up some ads and you hope for the best. You know, I hear that all the time. You know, put up some pictures and that's it. You might win, you might lose.
Yeah, and there's so many smart people, even like yourself. You know, like there's smart people behind that. It just sometimes all of this smartness gets dulled away by the non-smart ones that are just doing what you said. They're sticking a poster up and saying, you know, oh, I'm trying to get the ABC white women to why? What's wrong with the black women or the Asian women or any other female on God's earth? Why would you say that your marketing is just aimed at them for now? Maybe next year will come. So yeah, that's
maybe when we have no other choice, you know, we're forced into it.
And they are now being forced into it because, you know, now as consumers we have a choice. Now we realize that every brand we've ever known can be taken away from us and we can be locked in our houses and actually we can survive. So now we've left our houses going, I have a choice now. I don't have to spend money with you anymore. I don't need to buy your product anymore. So I think that's empowered a lot of people, you know, and also we've seen how scary the world can be. A little, you know, this minute thing that we can't see actually brought us all to a standstill. So now we're thinking a bit more about sustainability. We're thinking a bit more about health. We're thinking a bit more about the world, you know, and the people that occupy it.
It's unfortunate that, you know, so many people had to die around the world for us to realize, you know, what's important.
Really,
and actually take action to it.
And you know, like I'm not immune to that neither. I realized more about what's important in life during COVID. I don't know how yourself went, but you sort of, I realized I didn't need to go out so much. Like, don't get me wrong. Me and you are still going for drinks.
We're still on the card.
But, you know, like, I don't need to go out all the time. I don't, like, family's there. Go and spend some time. And they're dotted around the world. But actually, Chris, you're quite privileged. You can afford to go and visit them. Go and visit them. You know, don't keep putting it off till next summer kind of thing. You know, like, and now I've been making an effort. We've been off to France. I was in Germany the other week, obviously, to see the kids. And then, you know, just doing more with life. Otherwise, what's the point?
What are we Why are you working so hard? Why make all this money? Why have the position you have if you can't, you know, enjoy it, and you can't, your family can't enjoy it? Because why are you really doing it? That's the, you know, big question.
And then doing some good as well. So you're the first one to hear it because we just decided it as a company yesterday. But we're going to put a black person through uni every year that I'm the CEO of Brand Advance starting this year. So we're going to pay their whole uni fees. So we're about to announce it in the press this week, I think. We all decided it yesterday, signed it off as a team yesterday.
Brilliant. That was going to be my next question. You know, what's next for Brand Advance? So you answered it already. Amazing.
So we're going to pay the tuition fees of a black person. I've said a black person. That might change in the future, but right now there is a certain part of society that is, you know, is disadvantaged massively. So, because lots of people have said, well, actually, shouldn't you just offer it out to everybody? You know, in the last 24 hours that I've told a few people that we're doing it, yeah, should it just be? No, it should, because let's work on society one piece at a time. And, you know, like, and let's make it a better place. So yeah, but that's one thing we're doing this year. Another thing is we've announced some funds. So we've announced £100,000 for publishers. They can get a grant up to 5,000 if they're struggling, or if somebody has an idea of a publisher, because obviously, you know, we need these voices. I need the inventory as well. Like, let's not say there's not a commercial reason behind it, but also we need these voices. You know, we've got the Antichrist's about to go into another election. We've got things here. You know, democracy only works if it is challenged by you know, by a free press. It's the only way it works. Do you know what I mean? If democracy is not challenged by a free press, then actually it becomes a dictatorship.
Exactly, which is what's happening right now across the pond, isn't it? It's being shut down left, right, and center, and be classed as fake news. You know, as long as it doesn't tell a story that you know he wants to be told.
So that just, all of these things are. I've totally lost my chain of thought. What was I answering then? Totally fell out of my head. Just started waffling.
You were going on about you were telling us about what Brand Advance is doing next. So you're putting someone through university, and then you.
Thank you. And it totally saved me. Then my brain just went to mush. And then just growth as well. So we're going to open. We've got an office here at Manchester and New York. We're opening a new one in Berlin this year. So we're having arguments about who gets to go and work out there at the moment. But we'll be opening up out there. And then, just to continue doing what we're doing, really. I mean, there's so much more to do. You know, we've had a beautiful run for the last quarter. I'm sure we'll have a beautiful run to the end of the year. We did used to just be Brand Advance. We've launched 2 new companies. So we've got Sentiment, which is our data and analytics company. And then we've got DECA, which is our diversity media consultancy. And let's just, brands are letting us through the door, and, you know, agencies are partnering with us, and we're enjoying it. And we feel like we're doing some good. We'll do good as a company outside of that by, you know, putting our money where our mouth is, but also we feel like we're doing a bit of good in marketing and advertising, which I feel like is a rare thing that I've had in my career during marketing, where I felt good doing it. Do you know what I mean? It can sometimes not feel as good. So
Oh, brilliant. I mean, we can chat all day. You know, I know you're a busy guy. So last question for you, and the rest we'll pick up over drinks at some point. Definitely. You know, is there anything you'd like to say to young people who are just starting up in the media industry? Who, you know, wants to get ahead? You know, there's so many things that you can face or you are facing now. Any one thing you would tell them that, you know, this is what you should or can do?
Come into the industry is my first thing. Come, because we need you. Like, we really need you. As much as the industry might tell you that they don't, they just need people from uni that have done this or whatever. They do, because the clients are demanding a diversity of thought, a diversity of voice for their campaigns, something that the industry at the moment as a whole can't deliver so much of. They need young people, they need vibrant voices. So please come. And secondly, challenge. Just because that's the way it's always been does not mean that's the way it needs to continue. And that's in any part of media and advertising and marketing. It's been run by the same 5 or 6 middle-aged white guys for a long time. We all know it, you know. It's changing now. New people are coming, you know. 5 years ago, Brand Advance couldn't have grown like this because the industry wouldn't have let it. You know. But now it can. So there isn't any part of the industry now that can't change if it needs changing. And what a great career to be in, what a great industry to be in, where you get to inspire, you get to make people laugh, cry. You get to give them jingles that they'll remember for the rest of their lives. You get to give them adverts that they talk about even when they're old, you know, like it is a great industry. It's just been stuck in its old ways for a while, and it needs anybody listening to this from any background that wants to come in and, you know, has passion and a vision of what they could do in this industry. Do it, and don't let anybody tell you to get rid of that or to change, because that's not the way it's done. You know, marketing is a creative industry. Creative does not have a path. Creativity does not have a path. It's just there, and you do it your way. So yeah,
you make your stamp. Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time today, buddy. It's been great talking to you again. It's been too long, but I know, again, Black Lives Matter movement, pandemic, running multiple businesses. You're a busy guy. So thanks again. And I look forward to catching up with you on a personal level soon.
Cool. All right. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.